Arthur, go across the state 3/4 of the way, go to the top of Texas, Guadalupe Peak, then west through El Paso into New Mexico.
Bro, that's no small feat.
Solo, self-supported too. So yeah,
no crew, no nothing.
No crew, no nothing.
Let's fucking go, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, where does that even come up in your head? How does that even become a notion?
I've always been like, I want to do what's my next hard thing, and I've done 100-milers, I've done 75-milers, I've done 50-milers. I've led large groups of people on long ultra distances, and I know I can do these certain things. It's like, what was something that I'm not sure I could pull off? And around Thanksgiving, I was like, man, has anybody ever rucked across Texas? And I looked it up. Nobody's done it yet. And then plenty of people have ran across, biked across. Nobody's rucked across or decided 3/4 of the way, let's fucking climb the tallest mountain in the state. So, yeah, there we are, man.
Dude, let's go. That's epic shit. Dude, so I have to believe your average person just doesn't wake up one day and decide they're going to bite that off. So I have to believe, much like me running ultras and stuff like that, there's something under there that fuels that fire. Where do you think that fire started with you?
With me, man, good question. I've always like kind of had the mindset, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much room. So I've always pushed things and pushed myself to see what I'm capable of, And so coming up, it was I was always the wild. I was the one that would try the dumbest shit, and a lot of injuries because of it. But I always pushed the envelope, and so that's just always been my MO.
All right. Well, dude, I recently have just kind of started getting acclimated and within the rucking community, and I've done a handful of rucks, met you on one, and every single one I've been on, I've met the most incredible people. I always brag the running community's got the best people. Well, the rucking community is not far off and is absolutely equal too. And so, dude, you and I, we meet, and then immediately we're on this ruck, and pretty soon our stories are so similar. We've come to very similar worlds where it's like, man, here we go. Here's my fucking people right here.
Indeed.
And so that was a special day for me, dude. Just around the greatest group of people, everybody that was a part of you, everybody that was a part of the Squatch, everything like that was just super cool. And so you got a wild story.
Yeah.
Where did all that start for you?
I'm born and raised in Austin, Texas. Spent a lot of my youth in Austin. My grandfather kind of like stepped in because me and my brother were getting in a lot of trouble. My mom was a single mother, worked 3 jobs, and she'd come home, drink a bottle of wine, and go to bed, and then I would just go do whatever the hell I wanted. I always was getting sent out to my grandfather's ranch, and that was in south of here, and south of a town called it was a town called Batesville, south of Uvalde, about 50 miles outside of Eagle Pass on the border. And I used to go out there, and we just did hard shit out there all the time, working the ranch, and I hated it. And he was, you know who Gus Customato is? He was my Customato, dude. He was like, I was a kid always in trouble, and he was a Marine, taught me how to do hard shit. He was just a tough son of a bitch. He was a man, and then at 16 he died, and it like crushed. Well, before he died, he went from being the strongest man I knew to wearing diapers, and that crushed me. When he died, I was just off to the races, and coming up, I was always pretty resourceful. My dad, he was a redneck hippie, and that's pretty much how Austin was back in the 70s. And there was always booze, there was always weed around, and we'd go to parties. And I don't know when I started drinking, but it was at an early age. I'd probably say around 9 years old. We'd go steal some beers out of the cooler and go do our thing.
9, single digits.
Yeah, we were smoking cigarettes and drinking beer at that age, man. And I have kids now, and I look, I'm like, God dang, man.
That's crazy.
But
so what? Let me just ask you. What do you do when you find your nine? You walk in the room and your 9-year-old chugging a beer?
Oh, dude, I'd fucking lose my shit. I would probably handle it different, but one thing I'm really grateful. I've been clean and sober 23 years, and my son, he's 15. My daughter's 12. They don't ever have to see me as that person, and I feel like that I try to be a role model to them and try to be, no disrespect, the dad that I didn't have, you know, and give them what I always wanted at that age to a certain. I'm not talking about material stuff, you know, but yeah.
Morals, values, character, all that stuff. I think I mean I don't have kids, but it's every son of a father I hear is always trying to be better than what, you know what I mean, better than what their old man was. So
absolutely,
I think that's admirable to be doing that.
Yeah.
But so go ahead, off to the races, starting to dabble in drinking and smoking.
Yeah, and then my grandfather, you know, he was down in Mexico. He's an interesting guy. He had a maid that came by twice a week, but his house was always dirty. And whenever the maid showed up, we had to go out to the fields and you can figure out what was going on. But there was always booze there, so whenever I'd come back to town, I'd steal a bottle of Jack or something, shove it in my bag, and there was always booze there as well. So I was always pretty resourceful. We'd go to the convenience store, get a big gulp, throw a 16-ounce beer in there, fill it up with soda, go pay for the soda, and then that's how we scored our beer. Then I'd say probably when I was about 14 or 15, we figured out how to break into the Coors distributing thing, and we had all the fucking beer we wanted. So we were like the coolest kids in the neighborhood because we had every gutter we had our little stashes everywhere, so we were always able to party. And that's pretty much how like my early teens and all that went. It was like I was the party guy, you know. So.
Right. Dude, I can remember, I think it was 14, and I was up in New York State, and we were in a place called Schenectady, and not known as a good area or whatever. And we decided we all wanted beer, and so we were posted up outside the gas station. We were trying to get beer, and I was just waiting for somebody to pull up that looked like they'd get it for us. And this hood dude pulled up, and he had a big white girl driving the car, like very stereotypical of that. And so he walked up. I'm like, bro, we get us some beer. He's like, yeah, man, I got you. And so he's like, you know what? I left my ID over there across the bridge if you guys want to come back with me to get it. Well, immediately I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm not going anywhere. Well, these other two dudes run and just jump in the car with him. They take off. They're gone for hours. And so me and my one homeboy, we're sitting there like waiting for him, this and that. Finally, the dude comes. It's hours later. He pulls up like near this cemetery, back in this dark side road or whatever. And we go walking up, and I knew something wasn't right. And I remember telling my buddy, I'm like, bro, something's up. It's not right. He's like, no, we're good. Come on. And the dude walks around the car, goes in the back seat like he's going to grab the beer, and turns around. And so at like 14 years old, you're getting held up. And I just remember like immediately my buddy froze, and he's, give me your chains, beepers, everything like that. He's trying to take everything from him. So my buddy's coming up off all his stuff real quick to not get shot. And as soon as the guy turned around to give it to his girlfriend, I took off. And I remember I turned to run up the front of this front yard, but the front yard went like this. And so it was like I was running up a mountain, and I was just like, I'm going to get shot in the back. I'm going to get shot in the back. I'm going to get shot in the back. And I run, and I go up a couple blocks, and I see an old woman sitting there watching TV in her window, and I'm knocking on the window, and she's telling me to get out of there. She's going to call the cops. And I'm like, please call the cops. And then I hear feet coming up the road. It's my buddy. I'm hiding in the bushes. And so it was this whole big to-do. We ended up down at the police station. Those other two dudes ended up coming at like 2 in the morning. They had to walk across the bridge. They got all their stuff took. And then we ended up in the paper the next day. And I had to fly home the next day. So I'm flying home with this paper clipping. But we're all under 18, so it can't use our name. And so the only line it said to me about me was, the fourth youth fled. And I was like, oh, made the paper, let's go. But that was my last time I tried to get people to buy me beer, probably. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, so no, we would, I grew up in Austin and hung out, going to punk rock shows, skateboarding, and just living life however I wanted, you know. And that was pretty much my teens. And then, you know, of course drugs eventually showed up.
I was going to say, was alcohol your primary or what?
Well, it started off alcohol, a little bit of weed. We used to go and pick mushrooms and sell mushrooms, LSD, all of that stuff. And then when cocaine showed up, probably about 16, and that was a game changer, you know. And a lot of crack, a lot of cocaine. And I like to drink, and so it's like a little bit of Coke, I could drink all night, you know. And then it's like you get all jacked up on Coke, you need to come down. And then first it was pills, and then heroin showed up, and then that that was my fucking love.
Oh, was it heroin?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I was a bad heroin addict. When I was 11, I fell off some bleachers. Me and some kids were drinking at the baseball park, and we were playing. This is a story I'm told. We were playing keep away with the jacket, and I caught the jacket, and I came down, and just the tips of my feet hit the board, and I did a 180, and I landed on my neck and broke my neck, broke my collarbone, shattered the inside of my ear, and broke my skull. And that was like the first time I was ever introduced to opiates. And I remember that I was stuck in the hospital for a while. They had all this shit all over me, but I remember that morphine button, man. And I remember I knew exactly when I could hit it again to get more. And then I'd tell them, oh, it's broken and I need some more. And I fell in love with it. It was like, you could probably relate. It's like a warm blanket on the inside of your body. It's best fucking feeling ever.
In the documentary, that's literally what I say. I'm like, it's the biggest, warmest blanket just being wrapped around you. And just the first time I did heroin was like, oh my goodness, why would I do anything else other than this? But that shit comes and gets you quick. Bro.
Yeah. Once that showed up, man, it was off to the races, dude.
Yeah.
And there was no coming back. I wasn't just someone that chipped. I went, just like everything in life. I'm either 100% in or, just like a good addict,
Right, yeah. We're either ruck marching 1,000 miles or fucking shoving a gram in our arm, one of the two. Coke and all that stuff was like my first drug and all that. And then I remember I got introduced to Oxycontin, and I was like, wait a minute, I could do this, I can sleep, I can eat, I don't feel miserable, I don't have a bunch of bloody tissues at the end of the night. The bad thing for me was when I discovered the needle. Mm-hmm. Once I discovered the needle, anything you could cram into a needle, I was shoving in there.
Yeah. You're wasting it otherwise.
Yeah,
I learned that real early.
Yeah, crack, anything else. So, dude, going through kind of your drug history and stuff like that, like where would you say where was your rock bottom?
So I'd been in and out of jails. I mean, stolen cars. I was always, I didn't give a shit, dude. I didn't care about nobody but myself. So I would steal. I would take whatever I had to. I'd do whatever I had to do. Rob the store, steal the car, break into your house. I'll take all your shit, help you look for it. I mean, I was not a good person. Whatever if you needed something, I was the guy. You need women, you need drugs, you need whatever. I'll go get it for you.
Right.
And rock bottom for me, I'd been in and out of jails, and I've had a lot of rock bottoms, and I remember distinctively the biggest kick I had was we got popped, and I had a couple grams, and I ate them, and they weren't like in a balloon, they were just in plastic, and I knew it's either going to kill me or it's going to be real bad, and they caught us they locked us up for some other shit, some little bit of dope that I had thrown into a Slurpee, and so I got a dope charge, and I went in, and long story short, I got like super sick, and I didn't want to tell nobody I was strung out because I was trying to beat the case, saying it wasn't mine. And I remember I'd gotten outside of city. I was in county jail, and I was sick, dope sick. I couldn't hold nothing down, throwing up, lost weight, and then eventually they sent me to the infirmary, and I sit at like 195, 200 pounds right now. They weighed me, and I was 135, dude. I was, there's no mirrors there, so I hadn't really seen what I looked like, but I remember in the infirmary there was a mirror, and they weighed me, and I looked in the mirror. No shit, looked like a fucking Holocaust victim, and I was like, what the hell? Did some time, got out, and I was gonna stay clean, went to go get my shit from this one dope house, and of course ended up getting high. And I remember I did a big shot, and I was like, this is what I normally would do, but I knew it had been a few months, but I did it anyway. Let's see what happens. And I mean, I OD'd, came back, same shit just kept happening over and over. I couldn't get off the shit, I tried to go out to LA, ended up scoring out there, ended up going to Colorado to kick, came back, and 9/11 had happened, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go get all my shit, and I'm coming back to the mountains. And I came back within 2 weeks. I'm back to shooting dope. And I remember going down to Emo's and seeing a friend of mine that I hadn't seen in a while. And I was all strung out and homeless. And he looked good. He was clean, had a little chick with him. And I'm like, yo, what's up, dude? Let's go. Let's hook up. Let's go party, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, hey, man, I'm living life different now. And I remember I went and scored a bunch of crack after that, and I was staying in this homeless abandoned house, and I couldn't get his picture out of my head, just fucking smoking dope all night. And I was like, man, that dude's winning, and look at me, I'm losing, you know, and something's got to change, dude. I'm either going to end up locked up or dead. And some other stuff had happened, and I got popped again. They dropped the charges. I got out, and I started looking for a rehab. And I mean, I went straight back to the dope, but I knew I had to get off. And I finally found a rehab that would take me in. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go use this to my full advantage. Get off the streets, get my life back in order. And we scored that night because we were going to go in the morning. We woke up in the morning, and my buddy's truck had a flat tire. He's like, damn, dude, I don't have a spare, dude. And I was like, shit, dude, I got to get away from us. So I went and found a truck like his and jacked it up and stole a tire off his truck, put it on his truck, and that's how I got to rehab.
Resourceful.
And I'll figure a way how. I'll figure it out. And so I got to rehab. I detoxed there, and I didn't have shit to my name. Went, and then they were like, hey, you want to go to this 30-day rehab? This is out in Creedmoor. I was like, yeah, sure. I mean, I didn't have nowhere to go. All I had was a backpack and a bunch of bad habits, you know. And I went out there, and I was out there for about 2 weeks. And, like, the mindset there was, I mean, it was a bunch of, like, wannabe gangsters out there. And they're acting like we're like, in a tank, you know, and it's like, dude, who the fuck? I mean, I don't need this shit. And so I'm like sitting there telling myself, you can do this on your own, dude. You know where to go get high, you know where to go get clean. So you don't need this place. And I was like, all right, I'm out of here. And the counselor's like, don't leave. And I left. And I remember it was about 1.5 miles, 2 miles to the main road out by the dump. And I left, and I walked that road, and I remember I was scared shitless. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know. I didn't have nothing, you know. And I got out to that main road, and I started hitchhiking. And after about 10, 15 minutes, this car pulls up. There's this chick. She's got a cooler full of beer in the back seat. She's all right, you know. I mean, I'm like, all right, I get in. She's like, where are you going? And I was like, I don't know. And I made up something. She was like, hey, do you know where to score? And I was like, yeah. And I'm like, all right.
Matter of fact, I do.
Halfway decent looking chick. She wants to score some dope. I'm going to take her. We're going to go score, get what I want, and I'm going to burn her. I'm going to take her for all her shit and then back at it. And so I'm like telling her to go to the dope house, and I'm plotting and scheming. And we get to this road, and there's like, it was hot out that day. I remember there was no AC. The windows was down, and we're sitting in traffic, and like it's this mind game going on inside my head, dude. I was at that fork in the road. I had everything I wanted or needed to go and pursue the life that I'd been living for a long time. And I remember I was sitting there, and I looked over, and there was a freaking AA club right there. And I was like, fuck, what do I do? And we're stuck in traffic. And I remember I just opened the door, and I grabbed my backpack and said, where are you going? I didn't say shit, shut the door. And I walked over to that AA meeting, and I'd been introduced to AA before, and I didn't really care for it, and I'm not knocking AA at all because it saved my life, but I was like, man, it's just a bunch of old burnouts. I don't want to hear this shit, people trying to tell me what to do. But I didn't have nowhere else to go. So I remember staring at that door, and I went in and kind of hid in the back, and there's a meeting going on. It was stale. There's, you know, the little AA posters, rank coffee, and this one dude showed up and shared in the meeting. And this dude came in. He's got a big old fucking tattoo across his neck, says "Try me." bunch of prison tattoos, and listening to him share.
That's a ballsy tattoo.
Huh?
That's a ballsy tattoo. Damn.
He was a good dude, man. But he shared, and he talked about, he said a few things that really hit home to me. One of the things was like, I got a body that can't take the drugs and the alcohol anymore, and I got a mind that can't leave that shit alone. And when my mind lets me put that shit in my body, I'm fucked.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that was my truth, and I was like, that's it. And he shared some really deep stuff, and I was like, all right, this dude's just as fucked up as I am, or worse, and something's working in his life. And I thought to myself, maybe if I hang with this dude, I could get and do what he does, I could get what he got. And that's where it started. His name was Kenny. He did 12 years in Leavenworth for bank robbery. He did a bank robbery. He did like 3 years, got out. 2 weeks later, robbed another bank, got popped again. He did 8 years on top of that. So Kenny was the real deal, and he pretty much pulled me out of the gutter, So all of that, where was my rock bottom? I don't know. I had a whole bunch of them, and I really think that point in the car where that chick's in there, the booze is in the back seat, she's ready to score. I kind of say that's my rock bottom. Things had gotten a lot worse in the past, so it wasn't so much like how bad was it. It was that fork in the road where everything changed.
Right. Yeah, dude. It's funny. Like we all have different rock bottoms. We all have different voices that we end up catching that carry the message that we need to hear. But dude, what if that's not God, dude? What is the chances you're just randomly driving around? There's just randomly AA meeting there. You randomly walk in there and meet this dude. Like,
if I hadn't met Kenny, dude, I would have just gone back to whatever. Who knows, dude? Like you said, God put me where I was supposed to be when I was supposed to be there.
For sure. Wonder what happened to the girl.
I have no idea, dude. Never saw her again.
All right. I have a story I always told. I just told it out in LA and stuff, and I always get the question about what happens to her, and I'm like, I hope she's okay, but the statistics are not in our favor, unfortunately. Yeah. So, dude, then you meet him, and you just kind of latch on to him, and you're just doing everything he's doing?
Me and Kenny, he introduced me to a way of life that I didn't know, and it was like, he told me to show up. I showed up, and he was like, all right, let's go out to my house. And we went out to his house, and we started lifting weights. We started boxing. We'd beat the snot out of each other, throw a couple steaks on the grill, eat, and talk about life. And we worked through the steps. And he was my sponsor in the beginning, but then we became peers. And he was my rock. He was my boy, He was the dude that he fit all the categories, He was my boy, and a lot of the stuff he would do, it's like I never really cared about helping other people, and he would go and carry the message to other people, and it was all about helping other people, and we probably had about a 9-year run together, and he ended up I remember he called me up like it was nothing, and he's like, yeah, dude, I got esophageal cancer. And I'm like, what the fuck is that, dude? And it's a pretty much a dead-end street, and he handled it like, it's no big deal, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. We still lifted, we still boxed, we would roll, we would wrestle, and he would go help other people up until his dying days. He was always about helping other people, and that was huge for me, and he taught me so much in life that I use today in my everyday life. And I remember I was in Rocky Mountain National Park, and the only way you could get service if you went on top of this mountain. And I drove up to the top of the mountain. I got the call. It was July 4th, 2015, and Kenny died. And it was a fucking crazy day because it was July 4th, and I'm on top of this mountain, and I got that word, and I was all alone. My family was down at the camp. And I remember I just got out of the truck, and I just started walking and thinking, and it started snowing. And then, like, this fucking herd of elk came by, and it was like, that was Kenny talking to me, It was like, hey, it's all going to be good. Just live what we lived, dude, and do what we did. And I remember he was always real big on doing the things that you hate to do. Go do more of that until you find out what it is. And I always hated running. But I remember I was up on top of that mountain. I just started running that day. I didn't know what else to do. And yeah, it was a deep moment, you know. I mean, it was like God was talking that day, you know, and he was telling me that, you know, hey, Kenny's with you, bro. And long story short, I turned that into I started running, and I was like, all right. I mean, I really hadn't done it. I was like, fuck it, sign up for 50K in the Davis Mountains. Went and ran a 50K, kicked my ass.
Ain't no punk out of Davis Mountains either.
No, it's yeah. And since then, I've done marathons, 10Ks, 5Ks, all of that stuff. But it was like running taught me a lot, you know. And it's like I know what it is, you know.
Yeah, bro, running was one of the most impactful tools God ever presented to me. I could never have dreamt it would have done what it did in my life. So let me ask you, like, having him come into your life, and then obviously after 9 years losing him like that, like, I feel like there's always a blessing in every situation. And so, like, if he would still be here, you know what I mean, bro, there could be a good possibility you might just be doing what he's doing and not doing what you're doing today. And so do you feel as if, like, when he passed, like, I lost my best friend in the military, and I lost him to an OD. He wasn't a party guy when he was with me, but I feel like he got so desensitized to watching me party for so long that he started partying and then didn't know how to party. He didn't know you couldn't mix, you know, Xanax with opiates and stuff like that. So felt tired, laid down for a nap, never woke up. And so, like, I carried around that guilt for so long. I can remember sitting in prison, blaming myself and doing all this. And then at some point when I started to get sober and everything like that, I had this very profound thought. It's like, you know what, everything I do now will be to bring him glory. Like, I believe he's up there looking down on me, and I have to believe everything that I do, I'm going to make him proud. And so, in many ways, it made me level up. You know what I mean? It made me who I was. You know what I mean? It sucks how it all happened like that. But do you feel the same way?
Oh,
like
100%.
that caused you to grow?
100%. You know, things happen in life that we don't have control over. And it's like, I mean, you got two choices at that point, you know, sink or swim, you know. And the things Kenny taught me is like, all right, you know, now it's time to apply those things. Like, I mean, I was already applying them to my life, but it's like, I'm not doing it with my boy, you know. I'm doing it for one reason. That's to help the other guy, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, without him, I would have never known any of that stuff, you know, because it was all about me. And that's how I've taken from this world my whole life, you know, and what Kenny showed me is like how to give back, you know. And it's like I never cared about people, and today people are the most important thing in my life, you know.
Hands down. I had a conversation with somebody, and every time I talk to them, it's always a story. Somebody's screwing them, somebody's fucking them, somebody's out the way to get for them. They need money, they need this, they need that. And I was like, bro, like, you have to look at it. And I can only say this because I was him. You know what I mean? And I'm like, bro, like, all you do is bleed this world. Anybody that's near you, all you do is take. I was like, nobody wants to be around that. Nobody wants to be around somebody that's negative. It's constantly a story. It's this and that. Like, nobody wants that energy around them. And I was like, dude, when I got sober, I had this very profound thing where it's like I have this experience to be able to use it to help other people, and that keeps me out of myself. Constantly worrying about other people. How can I fill their cup? How can I fill their cup? To the point where I need to remember to fill my cup. But all I know is when I started doing that, bro, good things started to happen. Yeah. And it's amazing. Meeting people like you, meeting Jason at Squatch, you know, telling them what I'm up to. Like, people see me doing good in the community, and everybody wants to rally behind you. Like, bro, that's new for me, you know what I mean? It's been going on this past 8 years that I've been sober, but it still catches me off guard where it's like, holy shit, people notice. And it's like, in addiction, you want all this attention, you want all this shit, and you're so far away from it. And then you just flip it on its head, and you start giving your attention out there, and then you start getting all that tenfold. And the greatest people you ever meet come into your life, and they want to help you, they want to support you, they want to help further your mission. You know what I mean? You help them further their mission. It's like, God damn, I didn't know this world existed out here. Holy shit, we wasted so many years, but it's made us into who we are today.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. The way I look at my past, you know, it took every bit of that for me to be. Today, you know, it's like I feel like I'm just a wrench in a toolbox, you know, and it's like it took all the stupid mistakes. I mean, most of my stuff, if not all of it, was self-inflicted, and I'm very aware of that, you know, and I'm not a victim. And there was many a times in my life where I played that card, you know, and but I put myself in the situations, and for whatever reason, you know, my darkest days are my greatest assets, 100%, you know, and yeah,
pain is power.
Yeah,
for sure. So where did rucking come into play with you?
So I was doing the running thing, and Kenny was still around when I first did my first rucks. I did my first Go Ruck event, I think, in 2013, and I thought it was cool, you know, but I was still into running. And whenever I started having some knee issues, and so I would just go ruck instead of run. And over time, I started to realize that this rucking thing is pretty cool because it forces me to be in the moment. It kind of like trail running versus road running. Mm-hmm. Road running is mindless, you know. It's just one foot in front of the other. Trail running, you have to be observing what's going on. You have to be focused, you know, and that's why I like to trail run, you know, because it's always changing the ground, the terrain, all that. Now rucking kind of changed that. It puts you in the moment. It adds a level of suck to it, but the cool thing about rucking for me was, like, if me and you wanted to go out for a run, we might be on two different levels, and one of us is either going to feel like they got a crappy workout, or the other person's going to feel like they got smoked. Mm-hmm. Where rucking for me, it was an equalizer. Mm-hmm. I can either put more weight in my bag or put less, and we can walk side by side, you know, and I can make it harder or easier by that weight. And therapeutically, we can conversate. And with running, you can still conversate running, but if you're a quarter mile ahead of me, we ain't talking.
Right.
Where rucking, it put that into perspective. And I've always been real big on ditching the headphones whenever I go for a run or a ruck. Deal with whatever it is going on between the ears, you know, and rucking did that for me too, you know, and it puts me in the moment, puts me focused where I'm at, and I can increase the suck more or less. And it was a great way for me to rehab, and I just kind of fell in love with it, and that's been my thing.
Yeah. Dude, the rucking catches up with you.
It does. I mean? It sneaks up on you.
Dude, I rucked in the military, but this rucking's different for some reason. It just hits my body different. But I remember the first ruck we went on, it was 8-9 miles. I'm like, oh, dude, I run 8-9 miles all the time. But you started getting up around 5 or 6, that motherfucker starts getting heavy. You're like, oh, shit. But, like, you got to get used to it. But that's the biggest thing for me is the community aspect. Absolutely. Like, to be able to sit there and conversate, and then we talk for 20 minutes, and then I'm bouncing over here talking for 20 minutes. And I just had all these amazing conversations where, bro, that's my crew, my people like that, we bonded on a ruck march. And it was because we had that time to talk and sit there and go back and forth and bounce around and talk to each other. And, bro, we have this lifelong bond from one fucking ruck march. And so the military, dude, it brings people together. It's the only thing I've ever been a part of where you can go for a weekend or one day overnight like that. You go through some adversity together and you're bonded for life.
100%.
You go run next to a fucking, bro, I've run ultras with people. I've never seen them again, but if I see them, they are family. Yeah, we ran 100 miles together. Like, I know you for life. And it's the same thing at Ruck. We did one Ruck, and I'm our mutual friend Trip. What up, Trip? I'm like, yo, how do we support Terrence? How do we get out there with him? Like, let's do this. And it's so, like, that's the communities, that's the people I need to keep around me and stuff like that. So the fact that you found that, the fact that I got introduced it to, blessing for sure.
Yeah. So it's been a game changer on so many different levels, you know what I mean?
And your family's involved too, right? They ruck?
So yeah, every Saturday we do a community ruck. My son's been doing that since I started 2 years ago. My wife will go with me. Every now and then my daughter will go, but yeah.
I didn't meet your son, did I?
Maybe, I don't know.
Was he there that day?
I think he was. He was with another kid. And they tend to get ahead of us or stay behind us, so they don't hang out with the adults.
Are they younger?
15.
Okay, I think I did see him there.
Yeah.
All right. Are there some people in one of the most powerful things is, like, I didn't even realize it as we were in it, but then seeing the after picture, when you just see this mob line of people going downtown Lake or wherever you're going, and it's like, for that many people to come together and all be doing this on just some random Saturday, Sunday morning, like, it's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
When you're mobbing through like that.
Yeah.
So then where did you get the thing where you're like, I'm going to start my own shit?
So Project Grit was started in 2019. I came up with the idea to do something really hard for Texas Independence Day. I'm an 8th generation Texan. And I was in Gonzales, Texas at the Come and Take It Museum. And I see it, and I was asking them what they do for Texas Independence Day there, and they said they didn't do much. And I'm looking around and I see all this stuff about the Immortal 32. I'm like, who are these guys? And did some research, and William Travis was at the Alamo with 174 soldiers surrounded by 5,000. He sent out a call for reinforcement. These two guys from the Gonzales Ranging Company intercepted that letter, took it to their leader, George Kimball, and were like, hey, what do we do? And he's like, there's no question. We rally up as many people as we can, and we go to the Alamo. They rallied up 32 guys, knew it was a one-way ticket, knew they were going to go there and go die, and snuck through the enemy lines, got to the Alamo. They actually got shot at by the Texans. They thought they were Mexican soldiers trying to sneak in. Got in. 6 days later, the Mexican army attacked, massacred everybody in there, and everybody died. And I was like, man, I feel like history, I love Texas history in general. I feel like history did these guys a disservice. And I was like, all right, something's telling me that I'm supposed to do this. So I called up a friend of mine that I worked out with, Keith Busby, and I'm like, hey, I got this great idea. Let's do a 75-mile ruck from Gonzales to the Alamo. And he's like, you're out of your fucking mind, dude. And he's like, what time we doing it? So he was in.
Whose car are we taking? Let's go.
So we get dropped off in Gonzales, and it's 75 miles nonstop. It's not supported in any ways. We were dropped off. Our only ride was at the Alamo. We had no idea. We weren't trained for it. We didn't know what to bring. And we were like, fuck it, let's just go for it. And we went for it. And the first 30 miles of it is this beautiful country road, and it's springtime. We start early in the morning, about 2 a.m., and there's all this Texas history along the way. And all these things just started showing up that it's a long story, but like, hey, we were supposed to be here at this time doing this. And we got to we were probably 25 miles in, and there's this old house, and we're walking along, and there's this old man with white hair, white beard, sitting on the porch. He's like, hey, what are y'all doing? And we're like, walking to the Alamo. He said, are y'all doing the Immortal 32? And we're like, yeah. He goes, yeah, I heard about y'all. Y'all come up here. I got to tell y'all something. So we went up and sat on his porch, and he's like, you see that old house up there on the hill? We're like, yeah. And he's like, that's George Kimball's house. He was the leader of the Immortal 32. This is where they rallied to go to the Alamo.
Really?
And we're like, no shit. He gave us some water, and we hung out. He told us a bunch of history and everything. He took us inside, so we got to go around the house. Then we get to San Marcos, and San Marcos is about mile 35.
Are you guys walking on the side of the highway?
Side of the highway. Cars whizzing by. And you get to San Marcos about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and you get this like seed planted in your head, man, you ain't even halfway through this, and you're pretty beat up.
Mm-hmm.
Then from San Marcos, you get to I-10. By the time you get to I-10, it's probably 10 o'clock at night. And that first store, we were cruising along. It was during COVID. It was 2020. And we knew there was a store at I-10, and we had passed the store, and we were like, man, we can just wait to there to resupply. We were damn near out of water, didn't have any food. We got to that store. We were stoked to resupply. By the time we got there, we were out of water and food. Rolled up to that store, and there's a sign on the door, closed due to COVID. I'm like, fuck, dude. The next store is 9 miles. There's a store 5 miles back. What do we do? Let's press on. Hopefully they're open. So we pressed on, and from that store to the next store, I call it the Soul Crusher, and that's exactly what it is. And at that point of the ruck, you're physically beat up. You got your feet are tore up. Your back hurts, and it's nighttime. And that night, it was just me and Keith. And I have a competitive background, and during this stretch, man, you see at one point you see the orange unleaded sign and the green diesel sign, and you see it for hours, and it never feels like it's getting closer. It feels like it's getting further away. And so there's this mind thing going on. You're beat up, it's cold, I-10 is loud, semis whizzing by, it's dark, you start to separate, you quit talking, and it's a mind game. And your mind's saying, hey, man, you're 50 miles in, dude. That's far, dude. You can quit, and it's cool. You're a man, dude, you know. So you got all this going on, and I'm like, and to be honest, I'm like getting pissed off. I'm like, dude, this dude keeps falling back. He's slowing me down. I know how to just get in my zone and press on and push through, and I can knock this thing out. And so I'm like, man, I just wish he'd quit. And I looked back, and I saw the faint glow of his headlamp. And I was like, I remember I turned around, kept walking, and I was like, I'm just going to lose him in the dark, dude. Sorry, bro. You're a grown man. You know what to do. And I looked back again, and it wasn't me. Something made me turn around. And I walked back to him. And I remember the whole walk back to him, like, cussing, pissed off. And I got to him, and I was really frustrated, really angry. And I looked down. He's on the ground. He's a big dude, man. Super in shape, very fit. And I looked down at him, and he was beaten. He was broken. He looked up to me, and he said, man, I can't go on. I'm done. And I looked at him, and I saw myself. And I saw myself when I was broken, and I saw myself when I couldn't go on. And I remembered Kenny, and I remember Kenny reaching that hand out for me, saying, hey, bro, you ain't alone. I'll walk this with you. And that's what happened. I don't know what the exact words were, and they weren't my words. They were something bigger than me coming down and putting those words in my mouth. And somehow I said the right things, and I was like, hey, all you got to do is get up, man, and we'll go side by side. I won't ditch you. I'll be right by your side the whole way. And he got up, and we kept going. And it was like right then is when I realized, you know, it's not about going some crazy fucking distance. It's not about doing something crazy hard. It's about one man helping another man at his lowest point to get up and keep moving forward and finishing the goal that you started. And that's what happened, dude. We ended up going the rest of the way. It was hard. We weren't fast. I mean, well, it was the fastest year we ever did. We did it in 27 hours, 75 miles with the 35-pound ruck, which was solid, I think. And that time has not been beaten. But we finished together, you know. I mean, I like to say we started as individuals and we finished as brothers, you know. And it was an awesome experience that we both learned so much from. Next year it came around. I'm like, yo, bro, we got to do this again. It's just some cool story we tell over the campfire. He's like, let's do it. So we did it at mile 30 that year. I took a hard spill and I rolled my left ankle really bad. We get to Seguin and I sat down, we were eating some food, and I couldn't stand up. I was like, dude, I can't put no weight on this, dude. I don't know, dude. And he was like, come on. Table turned. I was broken, and he helped me out. We went and got an ace bandage, a bunch of tape, taped that thing up, made a little makeshift cast, and I finished. It was a rough 45 miles, but I finished, and I couldn't have done that without him. And the tables had turned, and third year, we opened it up to the public and started bringing people. And I see the same thing happen during that Soul Crusher stretch, that it's like, it's transformational for people, you know. And I see them getting through that hardship, and the next year they're like helping other people out. And it's an amazing thing, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole metaphor for me in the running community. People brought me into it. I try to bring other people into it. If you ever, I don't think if you ever see the documentary, there's a guy, did you see it?
Yeah.
It's Detroit. He was my guy, dude. And we sat there, we spent so many miles together and everything like that, and I don't remember ever saying it to him, but he says it in the film, like, there comes that point where, dude, I was done. My back was fucked. I got 2 herniated discs bone to bone. I knew there was a camera crew there. I had no idea what was going to happen at the end of it all. But, and so I came through. It was like for 5 miles, I knew I was going to quit. I didn't say anything to him. We came through, and I was like telling the director, I'm like, dude, I can't keep going. My back is fucked, this and that. And then, dude, like an angel, that motherfucker pops in my face. He's like, you ready? Come on, let's go. And I go back on the trail like, motherfucker. And then, dude, thank God, like, dude, I was so naive. I pulled my training plan out of a book. I knew nothing about nutrition, any of that. And so I'm sitting there. I watched the documentary now, and I'm mortified because I'm sitting there slurring my words. I'm so calorie deficient. But he saw that shit, and so we got back on the trail, and he's just shoving calories, and I'm telling him I don't want anything. He's like, fucking eat it. And so I did, and then that next aid station, I just come alive, dude. And we rode that whole race together, and I'll never forget, dude. We came into that last aid station, and he was hurting, but he knew what it was for me and all that. And he's like, dude, just go finish. I'll see you at the end. And I'm like, no, I don't want to leave you. And he did, dude. And it's like people like that, dude. That is my brother for fucking life.
Yeah, when you do hard things like that together, it creates a bond. I mean, I've never been in combat, but it creates a bond that's unexplainable. That I can't put a word on it, but you know. I mean it. You know what that person beside you is made of.
Yep.
And, you know, it's like I've done that event, and I've led well over 100 people through hard events like that. And it's like I know, like, at any point I could call a gang of people, and I know what each one of those persons, what they're capable of. And I know that when it gets thick, this is the dude you want next to you, you know. And it's created a community that's unbreakable.
Right. Dude, and we shot it from the rooftops. I try to, you know, you get a little bit of it in the gym. You get some of the, you know, running, ultra running community, absolutely. Ruck marching, especially ultra distances. But going through that adversity together, like there's a reason when you go to the gym, it's like you have your crew in the gym. You know what I mean? We all show up 5 a.m. or whatever. Everybody kind of knows each other. But you know, like this person's disciplined. They have character. They show up here. Like all those things. And so it might not be combat, but it is that foxhole shit where it's like I know what they're made of. They'll be there for me through adversity. I'll be there for them. And it's then you get around regular people that aren't like that, and you don't catch it. And it's just like, I don't want these people by me. Like I need the bad motherfuckers that I know are going to show up. So, dude, that's amazing. You've led over 100?
Yeah.
God damn.
So I got like 6 events that I do, but yeah.
Dude, good shit.
Yeah.
So where did you come up with the name Project Grit?
So originally it was the Immortal 32 Ruck, and I knew that I had a bunch of other crazy events that I wanted to do. So I was like, it needs to be something bigger. Like grit was just something that's like, I feel like that the world has gotten soft, you know, and that we live in we go from one AC bubble to another AC bubble. We're eating crap food. We're staring at a screen all the time. And it's like, man, what America used to be this awesome group of people that were unstoppable, you know, and you look back and you think about the early pioneers or like my grandfather's generation that served in World War II, you know, and it's like, what, those people were cut from a different cloth, maybe to a certain degree, but they weren't. They were the same people we are. What's different? They had grit, you know, they had a lifestyle that they didn't have to go to the gym because they were working hard, you know. They didn't have time to sit around and be depressed, you know. I mean, it's like they had grit in their lives, and they did hard things, and they came up hard, you know. And it's like, what's wrong with America? You know, we've lost our grit, you know. We've gotten soft, and so it's like, man, my whole thing is let's rekindle that fire, you know. Let's build grit in Americans and become what we're truly capable of being, and learn our purpose through doing hard things, because that's how I found mine, you know.
Right. Dude, I agree with you, and then I get all nervous. It's like, man, I'm becoming the old guy. It's like this generation's soft and all that shit. But, bro, the difference is there's a lot of people that talk shit and say that and don't do anything about it. And you fucking did something about it.
Well, the world's real loud, but a lot of the world ain't saying shit.
Right.
You know, show me, man, you know, and I'll go out there toe-to-toe with anybody, you know.
100%, dude. Yeah, dude, and it's when you start doing this and you start realizing you're reaching people and it's impacting them and stuff like that, like, I've probably said it every episode today, but it just puts a battery in my back and makes me want to go all that much more harder. So you came up with the concept for this 1,000-mile, right? Or so what all does Project Grit do?
So I got Immortal 32 Ruck. I have Comanche Moon Ruck, which is a 13. Originally it was all ultra distance rucks. And then I started to realize all these people would get scared off by that distance. And so my ultras are, I got the Top of Texas 8-Peak Challenge, which is in Guadalupe National Park. And the highest peak in Texas is Guadalupe Peak. And that park also has 8 of the highest peaks, 8 of the 10 highest peaks in Texas. So that ruck is...
So that's a trail?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's a 27-mile loop that hits 8 peaks, and 9 miles of that 27 is a bushwhack, which means you're in thick brush. There's a lot of like leaning down, high stepping. It's really tough. It's a little over 11,000 feet of elevation gain, 27 miles, 9 miles of bushwhack, and there's no reliable sources for water to filter out there. So you start with all the nutrition and water you're going to need for the whole event. So I do that ruck with about 9 liters. I start off with about 9 liters of water, which is a little over 20 pounds, and then all my nutrition. You're probably starting out with a 45-pound ruck. And last year, my mom had passed away in September, so I had her ashes and my stepfather's ashes, which I spread on top of Guadalupe Peak. So I was probably starting out with a 50, 60-pound ruck. Ashes are heavy.
Yeah.
And it's a ball buster. That's a very select people I'll do that with, because there is no easy way out. You hurt yourself out there, you're SOL.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not going to just take anybody on that course. I have the, which we're doing in August again, the Camino del Chamayo, it's a 50K from the plaza in Santa Fe to an ancient church called Chamayo that is right off of the high road to Taos. It's a church that was built in 1809. Some guy with some disease went out there and to get away from everything, started digging a hole. In that hole, he found a rosary, and the dirt healed him. It's the only place, one of the only places in America the Roman Catholic Church considers sacred ground. And it's the largest pilgrimage in America. 50,000 people pilgrimage to that church to get some holy dirt. And it's a pretty intense little ruck. It's that one, you go heavy with your ruck. It's about carrying all your burdens and giving it to something bigger than yourself.
Bro, you just gave me the best idea. I have an idea for a ruck for you when we get done with you. I'm excited now.
So I got those. Then I got another one. There's an abandoned ammunition plant. I'm not going to tell you where it's at. It's a secret location, and it's in the swamps. I'll say that much. And nobody's been out there since the 60s. It looks like the set of a Walking Dead. And there's all these dilapidated buildings, stop signs with vines on them, street signs. It's not safe, really. The grass is growing through the streets.
Snakes
we'll go out
everywhere.
There. Oh, yeah. We'll go out. Well, we do it in January, though,
Okay.
so the snakes aren't an issue.
Gotcha.
But it's cold as hell.
Yeah.
It's a 26-miler out there. We do 12 one day, find an abandoned building, camp out, 12 out. And that's the survival ruck I do. Are these races people can sign up and pay for, or what? None of my events are races.
Okay.
All of my events are group effort, and we start as a group and we finish as a group, which is unique to a certain degree. We're only as fast as our slowest guys, and they are paid events. I do have every Saturday in Wimberley, Texas, a 5-miler I do, 6 a.m. Saturday mornings. We show up and there's a route we do. We go out 2.5 miles, 2.5 miles back. It's always the same route, so you know where we are. And afterwards, we meet at the cafe and have some food for camaraderie. Yeah. And I also have 2 13-milers I do every year, the Willow City Loop, which it's straight up outlaw country in between Llano and Fredericksburg. It's a 13-mile road. Beautiful road, goes down into a canyon. And I have that one. Then I have the Comanche Moon Ruck, which is coming up in July, which is a full moon nighttime ruck.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Did the art you guys got with them and everything, like the whole theme you got, everything, like it's good. It's good branding, good shit.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
So how many total ruck? How many?
So I have 6 events this year. We're not doing the top of Texas because October 2nd. I'll do the 1,000-mile ruck.
And how many of those are actual like trail rucks?
One only trail is there's only one. Well, 2. You could say the survival ruck is a trail ruck.
I've been so my ultra running coach Joe Persidis. He
I know Joe.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So he started Tejas Trails, obviously.
He's old school, dude. He's done every race that you could ever think. Badwater a couple times even. So yeah.
But I try to explain.
Joe's legit, dude.
I try to explain people to Joe, and I'm like, look, the way you know roads and street signs, that motherfucker knows trails. You could be like, hey, Bandera, Texas, mile, whatever, and he'll be like, oh yeah, and just knows it. And so
that's the Godfather in Central Texas running, dude.
Yes, he is. I say that in the documentary too. So he's coming out of retirement and he's doing a race. and I was out there helping him clear the trail, and it is not an easy trail either like that. But I Am Redemption is going to have the 5 miler, so it's going to be the I Am Redemption 5 miler, and we're going to get out there. But just thinking, all this ruck stuff has got my wheels turning and stuff like that, and we need to tap into him, because I guarantee he can come up with a badass course for us.
For sure.
That's cool, Judge. So
Yeah.
You were running Tejas races?
Yeah. I've done a couple of Tejas trails, and he used to do a community where him and his son. I forgot his son's name, but I used to go and meet up with him on. It was one day, I forgot, like Wednesdays or something.
Yeah, he's a bad motherfucker, dude.
Yeah. He's like in his 70s now too.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to get up and see him every couple weeks, and we just sit there and talk about running, and he shares all his wisdom and everything like that, dude. He's one of the best human beings.
Yeah.
Best human beings on earth. I fucking love that dude. But dude, he's been having like health stuff, you know what I mean? His body's breaking down and stuff like that. So I need to bounce this ruck stuff off him and be like, bro, you're having a tough time running. Why don't we do a little ruck, see what happens? Have you ever met his wife?
I have not.
Oh, bro, she's an angel. She's one of us too, but she's
That's
an
cool.
angel. Yeah, she's cool as hell. So the moon one is next, right?
July 11th.
13 miles.
Correct.
Nighttime. And then I would love to co-sponsor just not a paid event or whatever, but a night ruck with you, dude, because I definitely want to get my people involved in this too.
For sure, dude.
Tapping into the different communities and give them different options.
More people, the better. You know what I mean? Because it's that like I grew up my whole life thinking, I don't need nobody. I don't care about nobody. I was brought up with all that John Wayne mentality, which is good to a certain point, I mean, because it helps with resourcefulness. But especially as men, dude, I never knew how to deal with a lot of like emotions. I knew fucking fight. That's all I knew, and through working, that was like the hardest thing that I ever did in early sobriety, was ask another man to help me. And once I did, it was like everything got easier.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, so I'm you did that too? Oh, okay, cool. So it was like it made me not feel like I'm just a total POS. Right. What I mean? So yeah,
dude. So I have one of my good friends sitting over here to the right, Teresa, but she showed up, flew in from out of town for an event we were doing, and I'm pretty sure I told you this when we were on our ruck, but I just happened to be doing a ruck with Trip that day. I think it was the first training event for the Go Ruck 50 or whatever in Austin, and I knew she was in town, and so I hit her up. It was 4 a.m. I'm like, hey, I'm doing a ruck this morning. She's like, oh, I just happen to have my ruck bag with me as my carry-on, and so we're out there, and we've been bonded ever since. But dude, it was all over a ruck. It was her willingness to show up at fucking whatever ungodly hour we started at and stuff like that. And so it's like us like-minded people, we keep finding each other and willing to do that stuff. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to we're just willing to show up.
Absolutely.
Because I know if I show up anywhere, I know I'm gonna get through it. You're gonna get through it as long as we're there. And so that shit is, bro, it's a powerful feeling.
Yeah, that's an important reason why, like, most of my rucks start at horrible times. Like my 2 a.m. start time, like every Saturday, 6 a.m., huh?
Weed them out?
Well, it takes a special kind of person to show up at 2 a.m. and go abuse themselves. Or 6 a.m. If you're showing up at 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning, you probably weren't out drinking all night. Or maybe you were. You're probably still drunk if you did,
Right. Bro, we were running the Austin Marathon and this past year, and I got like the dude that I was running with, he had graduated treatment the night before. And so I go pick him up, and I got him out there, and we're running Austin half marathon, and you could tell he's going through his whole life. He's going through everything. He's running. He's happy one minute. He's sad the next. And there was a group of younger guys, probably in their mid-20s, in front of us, and they're running, and they're jacked and everything like that. And you've run road races and marathons, so there'll be people out there with signs and food and all this and that. So we come through one part. I'm trying to think we were. Anyways, but they had a beer table. And so they just got all cans of beer up there. And then you go down the line, and they got liquor bottles. And so this dude runs up, grabs 2 beers, shotguns one as he's running.
It's your partner.
Huh? No, not my guy. No, the young guy's in front of us. And so we're running behind this. And I'm watching this happen. And this dude shotguns a beer. He has another one in his hand, goes down the line, catches a shot of like rum, vodka, tequila, fucking whiskey, and then as he's running, shotguns this other beer, and I was like, Jesus Christ, bro. Like, we ended up running past him. I was like, bro, you're a legend. Like, hats off to you. I could never have done that. But, yeah, there's some wild boys out there for sure. but I don't know if they'd be
Was
showing
that
up
this
at the
year?
same. Yeah, just this past year.
So we did the Austin Marathon.
Oh, were you out there?
I got a great story.
You rucked it?
So I got a friend of mine, Green Beret, Daniel Carlton, in 2012 he stepped on an IED. Blew his left leg off. He's an above-the-knee amputee. His right leg got filleted. His right leg's pretty tore up. He called me up, and he's like, hey, man, I want to do your 75-miler. And I was like, all right. No amputee's ever done it, dude. I've never done anything with an amputee, so I don't know what the hell to do. So he showed. I was like, hey, show up at Rise and Ruck Saturday morning, 6 a.m. And if they show up, I'm like, all right, they might be serious. He showed up and did it, and then he's like, I want to do the 75-miler. First I've ever gone as an amputee is 15 miles. And I was like, okay, we're gonna have to train together because I need to know how to deal with an amputee, and you're gonna need to know how to go. We're both gonna be learning. And I was like, hey, check it out, dude. Austin Marathon's coming up, and this was, I think it was 10 days before the 75-miler. I was like, let's do this, dude. I'm gonna do it either way. I'm gonna go sneak into that thing. I'm gonna show up at 2 a.m. They'll have the course out. I mean, it's a public street. They can't kick us off it. Come with me, dude. So he showed up. So it was a joke around. It was a one-legged Green Beret, a retired cop, an NFL football player, and a recovered drug addict. Sneak into the Austin Marathon, and we rucked the whole marathon, and we did it in like 9 hours. And it was the furthest he had ever gone as an amputee, and we learned a whole lot of how we got to deal with, like, I don't know if you're familiar with how the prosthetic leg works. It's a carbon fiber bucket, and you put a sleeve over the stump, and then you put it in there, and there's a pressure relief valve, and you press that, and it creates a vacuum on the leg. It seals the leg, and that's what holds the leg on. And we learned, like, how often we got to change those sleeves. What happens when you start sweating, because it loses that vapor lock, loses, and it starts to fall off. So we learned a whole lot on that. We get to the end of it, man. Daniel's crazy, dude. They had this. Did you see the big gong at the end?
Yeah.
He takes his prosthetic leg off and hits the gong with it. Freaking awesome, dude.
Dude, that's legendary.
And then 2 weeks later, he came. Man, he crushed the 75-miler, dude. And it was such an inspiration, man, because it's like, you go that distance, I don't care who you are, you're gonna be dealing with something. You're beat up, you know, and whatever you're dealing with, and this was the hottest year we had ever done it, and whatever you're dealing with, he's dealing with it tenfold. Every time that dude's taking a step because of the sweat, his leg's falling off, so he's like hurrying up and shoving his stump back in it every time he lifts his leg. So it's like, just watching that guy triumph through that was just such an inspiration. And I joke with him. We started with 36. We finished with 33. And I say we finished with 32. And we started with 36. We finished with 33. I always joke. I say we finished with 32 and 3/4.
Right.
Because that's his handle on Instagram, 3/4 cowboy.
Bro, they always I gotta follow him. People like that always have the best senses of humor about that shit.
He's like, man, I lost my leg. I didn't lose my life. And I've seen 10 of my friends die right in front of me, and they'd do anything to have one leg and be able to spend that time with their kids. So it's easy to sit there and feel sorry for yourself, but in reality, God put you where you're supposed to be. You know?
There's a dude, I can't imagine it's the same guy, but a guy that will go out and run Tejas races that's an amputee, and he'd be out there doing ultras. And I remember as I was doing my ultras, you know what I mean, you're going through a tough part of the race and you're fucking going through it or whatever, and I see that and I'm like, well, I'm just not being a little bitch. Like, what the fuck am I talking about right now? I'm fine. But yeah, dude, like, I can't even imagine how tedious that is for him, you know what I mean? Like, bro, I don't have much patience. I wouldn't have the patience for me to be, you know, for him to be able to do that.
I could do that, you know. I mean,
no, dude. So.
You never know, though. You know, you don't know what we're only limited by our beliefs.
Of course.
You know, if we think we could do something, what was it Henry Ford said? If you think you can or you can't, you're right.
Yeah. So true. So true. So, dude, somebody listening to this right now, like, you know what I mean? They hear your story and everything like that. Like, how would you explain the Ruck community to them? Why should they come try it?
The Ruck community it's a bunch of people that probably wouldn't normally mix, and when you go, like I was saying earlier, and you do hard things together, you learn something about yourself. And there's health-wise, there's tons of reasons to do a ruck versus like a run or something, when you put that rucksack on, say you're sitting at 200 pounds, you put a 50-pound ruck, your body thinks you weigh 250, so it recalibrates how it burns energy. You burn twice as much calories doing a ruck versus running. If you do a 5-mile run, and you do a 5-mile ruck, you're going to burn twice the amount of calories. But I say on the community level over everything, you find people that are willing to get outside of themselves and do hard things. It's a different breed, and it's something that I don't know. I'll die on that hill that it changes people's lives, and it's like we've gotten so accustomed to this soft lifestyle that's just one comfort after another that we got to get outside that comfort zone, and from that, I do things today that I thought I'd never do,
Mm-hmm. Dude, I've been so biased to the running community and stuff like that, but just the couple rucks that I've been on and the profound impact that I have and the people that I've met, like I'm all the way sold.
So if you follow like the history of running, and like when the trail runners showed up, all the runners like kind of like scoffed at them, and it's like, oh, these a bunch of drunks, and kind of feel like that rucking has become the new form of that. It's like you're out there. It's a joke. Remember now, you look. Tejas Trails has rucks on their list. So
I 100% judged because when I was trail running was the first time you had ever seen. You'd get one, maybe two people that would be out there rucking. I'm like, what the fuck are these people doing? And I'm a vet, and I'm like, they're not runners, they're not this and that. But I get it now.
Yeah,
I get it. So, dude, how can people support what you got coming up in October?
So yeah, you can go to my website, officialprojectgrit.com. From there, I got links to what we're trying to raise the funds to do a documentary on this still. I have places to donate to that, and I also have looking for sponsors. Any sponsors you can click, it'll come to an email that'll come to me, and I'd love to talk to anybody. The other thing is you can go follow me on my Instagram, Official Project Grit, and see you get more daily up to date what we're doing and everything. Sign up for my newsletter. The newsletter will go out, and you'll get information of the upcoming events and what we're up to, and some cool stories along with all that. So that's basically the main ways you could help support.
Well, anything I could do to blast this out, I will be supporting you the whole way. I'm definitely, as long as you're willing to have us. I know me and Trip want to come out and get a couple miles in with you, as long as that's not ruining what you're doing or anything.
Yeah.
But dude, anything I Am Redemption can do to help further what you're doing, please say the word.
Solid, and back at you, dude. Anything we can do, man, I'm all about it.
Thank you.
It's one hand washes the other. You know what I'm saying?
Right. What is it? I always say it. Rising tide raises all boats, ships. I've said it 17 times in the past 2 days. I don't know how I'm fucking it up, but that. What's the one song you'd listen to as you're like getting yourself psyched up, ready to leave that morning? What's your one fucking song that's gonna get you pumped to get out there and do this?
Oh man,
your one anthem.
With that Johnny Cash song, maybe God's Gonna Cut You Down.
Oh,
solid, dude.
Good one. Very good one. Yeah, that's a hardcore one right there. Yeah. I like it.
But I mean, my music changes every day. But like, if you said that right now, that's what popped.
Yeah, my walkout song changes every day too. Yeah, for sure. Well, brother, the way we like to wrap up the show, first of all, thank you for driving down here. Thank you for fighting for the traffic. I can't wait for this episode to come out and us blast.
Thanks for having me, man.
100%. Anything I could do. Oh, I will. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. But if you would, dude, if you take a look in your camera, everybody's heard your story. They've heard your journey. They know what you're about. But if you'd be willing to throw out a couple I am statements to let them know like who you truly are, that best describe you, take a look in your camera. We'd appreciate it.
I am resilient. I am stronger than I think I am. I am built for more. I am Project Grit.
Oh, good, Project Grit. So I've had this sitting in front of me for all these recent episodes, and I just wanted to highlight this real quick. My good friend Kaylee Williamson gave me this. She's the only human being on earth with Down syndrome to have ever finished the New York City Marathon. And I could not support somebody more, her and her mother, what they're doing, and the hope that they inspire, the people that they inspire, and stuff like that. And so Kaylee goes around and leaves these rocks in her neighborhood to pick up, and they always have a different theme and everything like that. So she's been coming out to my run group recently, and I found out she did that. And then the next day she brought me a rock, and so I told her that will be in every episode of I Am Redemption.